A wealthy man covered the groceries for a struggling single mother, unaware that this act of kindness would lead him to discover genuine love. Emily Santos gazed intently at the cashier, her hands quivering ever so slightly as she meticulously counted the coins from her tattered wallet. "Is that everything you've got?" the gentle young man at the register inquired, pausing for a moment. Emily nodded, her cheeks aflame. She cast a fleeting look at her baby Lily, nestled in a pink blanket held close to her heart, gently sucking on her pacifier. Apologies escaped Emily's lips, her voice strained. The cashier spoke softly, expressing their own regret. "It's simply, the total is slightly above." Just as Emily was about to reply, a voice emerged from behind her. "I understand." Emily glanced over to find a man dressed in a dark blazer and a light blue shirt, extending a credit card towards her. He appeared self-assured, yet a flicker of uncertainty lingered in his gaze. "It's fine. I am capable of—" "I insist," Ethan Clark said, gently interrupting her. Emily blinked, her mind swirling with uncertainty. "Hold on, I assure you I can cover the cost." Ethan offered a faint smile. "I mean it, no problem at all." With a swift motion, he advanced, sliding the card through the reader. Emily gulped, a blend of astonishment and discomfort flashing on her features. "Thank you, but I'm not sure what your motivation is," Ethan shrugged. "Let's just say I have faith in giving the universe a little nudge every now and then." Emily gazed at Lily, who wriggled restlessly in her embrace. "It's not something that people typically engage in. Perhaps they ought to." His gaze softened, yet his fingers tightened subtly around his card. "How are you doing? It appears that you—" "Overwhelmed." Emily let out a brief, strained chuckle. "You would feel the pressure as well if you were juggling a newborn, working night shifts, and facing rent payments coming up next week. That seems challenging." "Indeed it is." She surveyed the grocery store with a quick look. Vibrant shelves, lively labels. Amidst the casual chatter of other shoppers, a small, quiet crisis unfolded at the checkout, unnoticed by those around. "I was genuinely surprised when a stranger offered to cover my groceries." "Perhaps I'm not merely a stranger," Ethan quipped playfully. Emily arched an eyebrow. "Indeed. So you're a hidden grocery enchantress?" He let out a chuckle, the sound effortless and natural. "Perhaps something along those lines." Emily took a moment to settle Lily, who was restless. "Thank you," Emily murmured once more, her voice softer this time. "Is that so?" Ethan gave a slight nod. "It was my pleasure. And if I may express my thoughts, please don't underestimate your worth. You're achieving more than you realize." Emily regarded him, caught in a delicate balance between feeling insulted and feeling thankful. "Simple for you to express." Ethan averted his gaze for a moment, the darkness lurking behind his smile growing more pronounced. "Perhaps. Yet I have faced my own set of challenges." Emily observed him, the soft murmur of the city enveloping them like a gentle embrace. "Which type?" He paused for a moment, then slowly shook his head. "That tale can wait for another time." Lily let out a sudden yawn, her small face crinkling as it nestled against Emily's chest. "It seems like someone is feeling drowsy," Ethan remarked, his typical acuity mellowing. Emily offered a tired smile. "Do you wish to embrace her?" The proposal caught him off guard, yet he responded with a cautious nod. Ethan received Lily from Emily, cradling the baby with care and whispering calming sounds. "She possesses an undeniable beauty," he murmured softly. "Thanks," Emily responded, a surprising warmth blossoming within her. For a brief instant, they remained in that position, three unfamiliar faces, two grown-ups experiencing an unusual bond, and a young child unwittingly linking the divide. However, Emily grasped Lily's arm, straightening her posture. "I need to go," she stated with a sense of urgency. "Absolutely." Ethan returned the baby with a tender touch, a glimmer of disappointment reflecting in his gaze. "Should you ever require assistance?" "No," Emily interrupted, her tone resolute yet gentle. "I'm doing well." Ethan gazed at her, a blend of admiration and exasperation in his expression. "I certainly hope so." Emily pivoted toward the door, her bag slung over one shoulder, cradling Lily gently in her arms. Just before she slipped through the doors, she cast a fleeting glance back at Ethan. "Thank you," she murmured gently. He offered a brief smile, then turned his gaze as she walked away. Ethan lingered near the checkout lane, the bustling sounds of the store crescendoing around him. He grabbed his phone, flicking through his emails. An influx of business updates and messages of congratulations regarding his company's IPO. Yet, everything seemed devoid of authenticity. He murmured softly, "There must be something greater." The rain danced gently on the windows, creating a soothing rhythm from outside. Ethan's thoughts echoed with the scene: the weary mother, the tiny infant, the delicate sense of pride. He turned his eyes once more to the register where Emily had been, a subtle shake of his head accompanying the motion. He never intended to upend his life due to a moment's whim. Yet there was an unmistakable quality about Emily that set her apart. Emily made her way onto the wet sidewalk, the weight of the grocery bags pulling at her side. She embraced Lily tightly as the baby began to move. "No one's ever done that for me before," Emily whispered, her voice barely audible, as if sharing a secret with the universe. She loathed the sensation of being a burden, despised the idea of relying on another. Yet, underlying everything was a sense of relief, pure and genuine relief. "Perhaps I'm simply too proud," she confessed, her voice gravelly. A figure emerged in her line of sight, and for an instant, she entertained the possibility that it was Ethan returning. Yet, a mere passerby rushed by, absorbed in his own thoughts. Emily tightened the strap on her bag and began her journey home. Her apartment was cozy, nestled in a community brimming with families and the comforting aroma of home-cooked meals. This evening carried a weight that felt more profound than normal. The groceries, the bills, the unending responsibilities. Yet there's a certain gentleness woven through it all. She dismissed the thought with a flick of her mind. Nothing positive could arise from intertwining her existence with a figure like Ethan Clark, the wealthy entrepreneur. Distinct realms, unique existences. She couldn't allow herself the luxury of hope. Once inside the store, Ethan completed his transaction and collected his bag. A notification from Mark Donnelly appeared on his phone. "It's time to discuss what truly matters to you. Don't allow this daydreaming chaos to undermine what we've created." Ethan replied with a frown in his message. "Not at this moment, Mark." Ethan paused as he approached the exit, gazing out at the neighborhood beyond. A blend of families, students, and workers. He experienced a duality, feeling intimately connected yet distinctly separate. As he entered the dimming twilight, he pondered whether his life could accommodate something genuine, something beyond mere achievement. Yet, he must first delve into the true essence of Emily Santos, perhaps uncovering a fragment of himself that had faded into the shadows of time. 3 days later, a refreshing breeze danced through the quaint neighborhood park as Emily settled on a bench, softly swaying Lily in her embrace. The sky hung in a soft, muted gray, hinting at impending rain, as Emily wearily rubbed her eyes and turned her gaze toward the baby. Lily cooed gently, extending her small hand toward a nearby maple leaf. Emily let out a deep breath. The hours at work stretched on, filled with calls that lingered into the early hours and reports that seemed to have no conclusion. She struggled to muster the energy for groceries, much less contemplate anything beyond that. A voice pierced the stillness. An old acquaintance. "Excuse me, would it be all right if I accompanied you?" Ethan moved in, cradling 2 steaming cups of coffee he had picked up from the kiosk at the park entrance. Startled, Emily looked up, then swiftly nodded, cradling Lily more securely in her other arm. "Absolutely." He settled next to her cautiously, mindful not to disrupt Lily. "I thought you might need a little break," Ethan said, extending one of the cups toward her. Emily accepted it with appreciation, the warmth flowing into her fingers. They lingered in quietude for a moment, observing the gentle rhythms of the park, the steady sway of a child mastering the art of cycling, pairs strolling with their dogs. Ethan started, "How has life been for you lately?" Emily let out a dry chuckle. "Tiring. During the day, I dedicate myself to helping others, and by night, I embrace my role as a mother, leaving little time for my own needs. How about you, still making waves in the tech realm? Something like that, Ethan replied, his gaze wandering over to Lily. I truly can't fathom how you manage it, honestly. Juggling responsibilities at work while caring for a baby on my own. Emily pressed her lips together, a hint of tension in her expression. At times, it seems as though I'm just managing to cling on. You're achieving more than you realize. The phrases resonated from their initial encounter. Emily averted her gaze, feeling a flush of embarrassment at the realization of how desperately she craved that reminder. Ethan observed her in silence, then sought the perfect question to ask. May I inquire about something personal? It varies, she replied with a weary grin. What made you pause when I covered your groceries? Many individuals would simply express gratitude and continue on their way. Emily's gaze deepened with the weight of the shadow she had attempted to conceal, for it felt like pity, and I struggle with pity. Ethan gave a slow, deliberate nod. I understand that. A lively little one dashed through their conversation, stumbling over his own feet in a whirlwind of energy. Both observed the descent, and Ethan instinctively extended his hand to support the boy's mother as she hurried over. Children can be quite a challenge, Ethan remarked, shaking his head. Emily's laughter rang out, sincere and full of joy. Absolutely, that's spot on. Later that afternoon, Ethan meandered into the quaint cafe close to Emily's apartment. He noticed her in a secluded corner, immersed in her notes and tapping away at her laptop. An exhausted expression etched across her features. He paused for a moment, then moved closer. Excuse me, would it be all right if I joined you? Emily glanced upward, taken aback, yet remained silent in her refusal. Looks like someone's had their fill of coffee today, he teased, gesturing to the cup next to her. Is there not always? Ethan sat quietly for a moment before continuing. If you ever need assistance, whether it's with daycare or anything else, I have some connections. Emily blinked, a glimmer of doubt crossing her mind. Thank you, but I'm okay, she replied hastily. Take your time, Ethan said gently. In that fleeting instant, their gazes locked, and an unspoken dialogue began to emerge. Emily shut her laptop, slipped Lily's pacifier into her pocket, and prepared to head out. Ethan rose as well. May I accompany you on your way home? Emily paused for a moment, then gave a slight nod. As Ethan traveled, his gaze fell upon the photo necklace adorning Emily's neck, featuring a small, weathered image of a man with kind, recognizable eyes. Who is this? Ethan inquired abruptly, making an effort to mask his surprise. Emily gazed at the pendant in her hand. My father. Ethan's breath hitched. Absolutely not, that is Javier Santos. Emily felt a surge of tension. Did you know him? Ethan gave a slow nod. He was my closest companion, many years back. A profound stillness enveloped them. Emily's voice floated softly, almost inaudibly. I was taken by surprise to encounter someone from his past, particularly you. Ethan confessed, a burden heavy upon him. I believed I had put all that in the past. Perhaps it's time to confront the reality. Emily gazed into his eyes, perceiving the truth within them, a blend of sorrow and aspiration. As time flowed, their journeys intertwined, occasionally by design, other times by mere coincidence. At the community center, where Emily dedicated her weekends, Ethan showed up early, bringing along bags filled with diapers and formula. I figured you could use a little extra help today, he remarked, placing the supplies on the table. Emily's smile flickered, a blend of surprise and uncertainty dancing across her features. They collaborated closely as she guided families through the process of signing up for assistance. Lily rested peacefully in her stroller close by. Thank you, Emily murmured softly during a lull in the conversation. Ethan shrugged, acknowledging the considerable effort that had been put forth. Being here feels just right. One afternoon, as Emily navigated the dynamics of a group of teenagers, Ethan found himself in the lobby, perusing an old photo album he had discovered at his office, a nostalgic collection of memories from his childhood. Among the pictures was one of Javier, youthful and beaming, accompanied by a note hastily written on the back. For Ethan, continue to embrace life and cherish love. J. His throat constricted as he read the message Javier had left behind. The letter he had never known was there. He realized what Javier had envisioned for them. That even through the tough times, the errors, and the quiet moments, love and family could still flourish. Ethan's phone vibrated, Mark's name illuminating the display, yet Ethan chose not to respond. Instead, he glanced back at the community hall, where Emily was sharing laughter with a group of children, her weariness momentarily set aside. That evening, Emily found herself wide awake in her cozy apartment, while Lily peacefully slept in the adjacent room. Her thoughts swirled around Ethan, the way he listened so intently, the surprising warmth he showed, and the history that unexpectedly linked them. Yet, pride tightened its grip on her heart, cautioning her to maintain her distance. He is unfamiliar with me. Not quite. As Ethan gazed out from his high-rise apartment window, the city lights twinkled like stars scattered across the ground below. He contemplated the chasms separating their realms, the polished executive suites and the humble community centers. Yet the recollection of Javier's letter and Emily's expression lingered in his mind, restless and pressing. After years of longing, he felt a desire to create something beyond a mere business, something tangible, and perhaps, just perhaps, that something could be shared with Emily. 2 weeks later, Emily found herself in the brightly lit hallway of the Little Sprouts daycare, observing as Lily clung to the bars of her stroller. The small classroom hummed with the joyful sounds of children's laughter, mingling with the delightful aromas of crayons and snacks. Emily smoothed Lily's jacket and surveyed her surroundings with a hint of apprehension. Is she prepared? Ethan inquired softly, moving closer to her side. Emily nibbled on her lip. I'm not quite sure. I suppose it's simply challenging. I understand, Ethan replied gently. But she'll be all right, and you truly deserve a moment to catch your breath. Emily glanced up at him, taken aback by the simplicity of his care. I really appreciate your help with daycare. It truly means a lot. Ethan offered a reassuring smile, reminding you that you're not facing this by yourself. Lily gurgled, extending her small hand towards Ethan, who knelt down to her height and playfully tickled her. As the caregiver ushered Lily indoors, Ethan pivoted to face Emily. You seem a bit worn out, Emily remarked with a sigh. Another night shift, is it? Juggling work and Lily has left me utterly drained. At times, I lose sight of what it means to simply. Ethan gave a nod. I understand, even following my IPO and all the corporate matters, I often feel a sense of emptiness. Emily blinked, taken aback. Is that so? You consistently exude confidence. He acknowledged that it wasn't the case every time. Achievement does not remedy solitude. They strolled out side by side, the autumn air refreshing yet mild, and Ethan softly draped his arm around Emily. Later that week, Ethan visited Emily's humble apartment, bringing along a bag of groceries and a bottle of formula. The soft glow of the late afternoon sun enveloped the cozy living room, where Lily lay peacefully napping on a mat. Surprise delivery, Ethan announced, placing the bags on the ground. Emily glanced up from the couch, a touch apprehensive yet thankful. You really didn't need to. His smile was gentle. I desire to. Emily tossed her shoes aside, her fingers weaving through her hair. I appreciate it. This week has been quite challenging. The children at the workplace are experiencing a lot, and I find it challenging to stay on top of everything. Ethan settled next to her, observing the weariness etched on Emily's face. What motivates you to continue on your path? She gave a slight shrug. Lily, her radiant smile, the small triumphs, and the optimism that brighter days lie ahead. Ethan took a moment to contemplate her presence. It brings me joy to have crossed paths with you, Emily. Emily averted her gaze, her teeth grazing her lip. I'm uncertain about my readiness for this, whatever it may be, Ethan. He leaned in, gently tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. There's no need to have all the answers at this moment. The following day, Ethan discovered himself in a modern office soaring above the bustling city streets, with Mark positioned opposite him, his brow knitted and arms folded. "Ethan, this isn't working for me," Mark stated plainly. "Being with Emily for extended periods is quite the diversion. You're jeopardizing everything we've created." Ethan leaned in closer. "She isn't merely a distraction, Mark. She holds significance." Mark's demeanor grew stern. "Significant? Do you believe a single mom facing challenges aligns with our vision? Investors prefer a CEO who remains focused and composed, free from personal distractions." Ethan tightened his jaw, a silent storm brewing within him. "I have no regrets about caring for her." Mark's lip twisted in disdain. "Compassion is admirable, but it shouldn't come at the expense of your business. Remember the importance of what lies ahead." Ethan rose to his feet. "I still remember. However, I will not prioritize business over something genuine." Mark's gaze sharpened. "Exercise caution, Ethan. You're walking a precarious path." That evening, Emily settled onto her balcony, cocooned in a frayed blanket, as she gazed at the twinkling city lights. Her phone vibrated, signaling a message from Ethan. "Tomorrow's dinner. I discovered a place that children adore." She offered a smile, yet paused for a moment. Was she truly ready to open her heart to another? Could she endure further heartache? The sudden knock at the door jolted her from her thoughts. She opened it to reveal Mark, his demeanor a mix of tension and courtesy. "Emily," he said, raising his hands in a gesture of emphasis. "Staying strong. I apologize for the unexpected visit, but I believe it's important for you to hear this directly from me." Emily crossed her arms, cautious. "What is it exactly?" Mark's eyes were keen. "Ethan's business is currently in a delicate state. When his concentration wavers, all else follows suit. Conversations are happening. Whispers about the reasons behind his frequent visits with you." Emily felt a knot form in her stomach. "Whispers?" Mark gave a slight nod. "There are those who claim he's leveraging this for attention. You're significant to him, undoubtedly, but it's essential to understand that this situation could become complicated." Emily recoiled, pain evident in her gaze. "Text? I'm uncertain about your intentions, Mark, but I'm not interested in playing around." Mark's expression softened slightly, yet retained its seriousness. "I'm giving you this heads up because I genuinely care about him, and regarding the possibilities of what might unfold if..." Just as he was about to conclude, Emily turned and softly shut the door. Her heart pounded in her chest. This turned out to be more dire than she had anticipated. With the dawn of a new day, everything transformed. Emily stepped into the cafe, the familiar spot where she and Ethan often gathered, device in hand, apprehensive and unfocused. Ethan had arrived, leisurely enjoying his coffee. Maintain a serious expression. "I heard," she said quietly, avoiding his gaze. "What can you tell me about Mark?" Ethan inquired. "Indeed, he's proving to be quite challenging." Emily found it difficult to articulate her thoughts. "Is there validity to his argument? Are you merely assuming a character?" Ethan shook his head, extending his hand across the table to grasp hers. "What we possess is genuine." Emily felt the sting of tears in her eyes, yet she fought to hold them back. "Then show me," Ethan said with a gentle smile. "I shall commence immediately." The ensuing weeks unfolded with a blend of tender and challenging moments. On a drizzly afternoon, Ethan assisted Emily in balancing Lily and a mountain of bags as she came home from work. "You know," Ethan said, catching his breath, "we should find a more efficient way to transport all of this." Emily chuckled, then hesitated. "It's astonishing how many items are essential for a baby." Ethan's expression became gentler. And how deep the affection. Their hands grazed against each other, holding on a moment longer than usual. One evening, Ethan found himself in solitude within his office, his gaze fixed on the wall adorned with an aged framed letter. Javier's handwriting was distinct, showing signs of wear yet remaining legible. "Ethan, continue to embrace life and love wholeheartedly." His phone vibrated with a sudden buzz. "Mark." Ethan chose to overlook it. Instead, he reached out to Emily. "Hello." Her voice carried a gentle warmth, soft yet inviting. Ethan expressed his desire to offer more assistance. Not merely with things, but all things. Emily paused, uncertainty flickering in her mind. There's a lot happening in your life, Ethan. This is what I desire. He stated plainly. A stillness lingered in the air between them. I'm frightened, Emily confessed. So am I, Ethan murmured. In the hushed ambience of a quaint cafe corner, Emily and Ethan savored a meal together days later. I want to tell you, Emily said, her voice quivering. I am expecting a baby. Ethan's fork hovered in the air, caught in a moment of stillness. Emily, I was uncertain about the right moment to express it. I feel a sense of fear. What if this transforms everything? What if Mark is correct? Ethan extended his hand, gently enveloping hers. No, this is excellent news. No matter what comes our way, we will confront it side by side. Emily nodded, tears cascading down her cheeks. I desire that. Yet the tension lingered on. Mark burst into Ethan's office the following morning, his expression grim. You're discarding it all, he retorted. This organization, the path ahead. Ethan remained resolute. No, I've decided to take a different path. Mark let out a derisive laugh. For affection? Don't be gullible. Ethan's voice carried a calm, unwavering quality. Perhaps it's time to reimagine what success truly means. Their gazes intertwined. Two longtime companions separated by their distinct aspirations. That evening, Emily nestled on the sofa, cradling Lily as she drifted into slumber, while Ethan observed her in serene silence. Thank you for holding on, she whispered. Ethan smiled, tucking a loose strand of hair behind her ear with a gentle touch. No matter what happens, I stand ready. Emily gazed upward, a glimmer of hope dancing in her weary eyes. We will find a solution, she stated. He gave a slight nod. In unison. 3 days later, Emily's phone buzzed incessantly while she was at work. Messages, alerts, and notifications flooded in at an overwhelming pace, outstripping her ability to manage them. As she finally turned her gaze, a heavy feeling settled in her stomach. A viral post had caught the attention of the local news portal. The romance between the millionaire CEO and the single mother appears to be nothing more than a carefully orchestrated publicity stunt. The piece referenced unnamed insiders within Ethan's professional network, casting doubt on the authenticity of his connection with Emily. Her heart raced as a torrent of comments poured in. Some encouraging, while others are harsh or doubtful. What is his true intention? Seems like yet another wealthy individual stepping into the role of a savior. She is taking advantage of him. During lunch, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Emily lingered in the break room, her food shifting aimlessly on the plate, as she sidestepped the curious gazes of her colleagues. She sensed a raw openness, a delicate fragility. Later that afternoon, Ethan made 2 calls to her. She allowed the calls to slip into voicemail. The words Mark had spoken resonated with an intensity that felt almost overwhelming. When Emily finally arrived home, Lily was already in a fussy mood. The evening hung thick in the air. As the doorbell chimed, she paused for a moment, then pulled the door open to reveal Ethan, his expression etched with worry. He murmured softly, we should have a conversation. Emily crossed her arms, her gaze piercing. I've come across the whispers, Ethan. Could you clarify the purpose behind this publicity stunt? He gulped. Those were leaked by Mark. I regret that you are encountering such a situation. Emily felt a constriction in her chest. Have you ever considered what it might appear like? What is it like to be pulled through that experience? I'm more than a mere publicity stunt. Ethan stated with conviction. You're not. This was all unexpected. So what held you back from intervening earlier? She insisted. Why am I the one left to gather the fragments? Ethan's jaw tightened. I was striving to hold the company intact. I regret not safeguarding you more effectively. Emily's eyes burned with a blend of fury and pain. I'm uncertain about placing my trust in you for that task. Just as Ethan was about to respond, her phone buzzed once more. She cast her eyes downward, noticing yet another message, this one from Mark. Beware. Emily glanced up, her breath hitching. I believe you have a valid point. There is a significant amount at stake for you. And I find myself, in the manner, with a quiet resolve, she shut the door, both gentle and decisive. The following day, Ethan found himself in his office, headphones in place, navigating the tumult of the internet. Mark received calls, yet he chose to disregard them. Suddenly, amidst the clamor, a file appeared in his inbox. A vintage photograph accompanied by a handwritten letter. Javier's handwriting, distinct and recognizable. The letter stated, "Ethan, should anything ever occur to me, I ask that you take care of my daughter. She shines as a beacon in a world that can often feel shadowy. You both share a lineage rich in compassion and resilience. Kindly ensure she doesn't have to navigate this world by herself." A note from Javier's sister, affirming Emily's identity and their father's desire. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. He was completely taken aback, unaware that Emily was the daughter of Javier. The burden of history weighed heavily upon him. Heartache, remorse, and an unforeseen wave of guardianship. That evening, Ethan discovered Emily at the quaint playground close to her apartment, with Lily peacefully napping in the stroller. She sat on a bench, her gaze fixed on the ground. "Emily," he murmured gently as he drew near. She kept her gaze fixed downward. "Why didn't you share that with me?" Ethan confessed, taking a seat next to her, his fear evident in his voice. "Worried it might alter the dynamics of our relationship. My intention was to keep you safe. However, I have come to understand that I was mistaken." Her voice carried a calm yet unwavering quality. "All this time, I wasn't merely the woman you assisted. I played a role in your history." He nodded with deliberation. "You are the child of my closest companion, the one I never had the chance to bid farewell to in the right way." Emily swallowed, a flicker of anguish crossing her gaze. "So, that's the reason my mum decided to leave us, isn't it? Due to the conflict between your families." Ethan averted his gaze, a look of shame crossing his face. "It seems I believed I had moved forward, yet some scars remain open until confronted." She crossed her arms. "What comes next? Shall we simply act as if this never occurred and return to our usual routine?" He shook his head in disbelief. "No, this alters the entire landscape. You're not alone in this, Emily. I desire to be present in this moment. It's more than just for the organization or due to previous experiences. For you and Lily." For an extended moment, silence lingered in the space between them, weighty yet truthful. Emily finally found her voice, though it quivered with uncertainty. "I wish to have faith in you. However, at this moment, I'm uncertain if it's possible for me." Ethan extended his hand softly, his fingers lightly grazing hers. "Allow me the opportunity to gain your confidence." Her lips trembled with a delicate, subtle smile. Perhaps we could give it a shot." 3 days later, Emily found herself in a cramped doctor's office, her heart racing after a routine checkup. The nurse's gentle yet earnest demeanor conveyed all that needed to be understood even before any words were spoken. The nurse spoke gently, acknowledging the significant risks involved. "Exercise caution at all times." Emily's hand shook as she grasped the wrinkled ultrasound image. That evening, she gazed up at the ceiling, emotions on the brink yet held back. She felt compelled to share with Ethan. She felt the urge to connect, yet trepidation restrained her. Anxiety about increasing the burden, of facing judgment or, even more daunting, the possibility of losing him forever. She held the secret close, encasing it within her like a delicate, aching burden. In the glass-walled conference room, Ethan found himself seated in solitude, while Mark stood opposite him, a smirk playing on his lips. "Are you truly willing to jeopardize it all for her?" Mark scoffed. "The board is running out of patience." Ethan stated with conviction, "I'm not taking any chances. I am advocating for what is important." Mark's gaze sharpened. "You're engaged in a futile struggle. You must decide between ambition and affection." Ethan held his gaze, resolute and unyielding. "Time will tell." As Mark stormed out, Ethan's phone vibrated with a message from Emily. "May we have a conversation?" I must see you. His heart soared. That evening, Ethan discovered Emily on her balcony, the shimmering city lights illuminating her figure, while Lily rested peacefully indoors. She appeared weary yet poised to confront whatever lay ahead. Ethan stepped closer, determination evident in his voice as he declared, I'm not giving up on any of this. Panas. Emily took a deep breath, grappling with a surge of doubt. It's more than mere whispers, Ethan. It encompasses all. My history, the weight of expectation, the arrival of the little one. He extended his hand, grasping hers, providing a sense of stability. We will confront everything that comes our way. In unity, she gazed upward, her eyes a blend of vulnerability and hope. In unity, a deep inhale, a subtle acknowledgement. They stood shoulder to shoulder, the night enveloping them, delicate yet resilient. The path forward was fraught with challenges. Yet perhaps, just perhaps, it belonged to them. And somewhere deep within, Ethan vowed quietly to himself, to battle not solely for the organization or his history, but for the family he was starting to create, even if it required confronting every lurking shadow within the walls. After a week, the strain between Ethan and Mark escalated to a critical juncture. The atmosphere in the boardroom was unusually frigid. Shadows stretched across the space, the late afternoon sun piercing through the glass walls with a sharp intensity. Ethan occupied the head of the elongated table, his fingers drumming a sporadic beat on the sleek surface. Opposite him, Mark reclined in his chair, his gaze keen and analytical. Time is slipping away, Ethan, Mark said, his voice steady yet urgent. Confidence among the shareholders is waning. They fail to notice you. The distraction is evident to them. Ethan held his gaze steady, unwavering. I am not a diversion. I'm standing up for what truly counts. The trajectory of our organization and the course of my individual existence. Mark let out a derisive laugh. You believe that combining business with, is this story going to have a happy ending? It has already incurred a cost for us. The whispers, the speculation, it all leads back to your inner circle. Your feelings are obscuring your ability to think clearly. Ethan tightened his jaw. I refuse to be pressured into making a choice between the two. Mark's smirk contorted. It'll be interesting to observe how enduring that proves to be. In an instant, the doors to the conference room burst open. Lisa, the head of public relations at the company, rushed in. Ethan, you have to check this out, she remarked, placing her tablet on the table with a sense of urgency. Ethan cast his eyes downward. A new viral video has emerged, captured by the security camera of a local cafe. The video captured Emily, clearly exhausted, struggling with her purse and inadvertently pouring a cup of coffee onto a man's laptop. The man's voice was filled with frustration. Be careful. What seems to be the issue with you? Emily stumbled over her words, offering an apology, while the whispers of the onlookers lingered in the edges of the scene. Mark's eyes sparkled with intensity. Impeccable timing. Ethan glanced upward, anger boiling within him. Who was responsible for this leak? Lisa gently shook her head. This presence is undeniable, yet its origins remain a mystery. The remarks lack warmth. Mark leaned in closer. Do you see? She's more than merely a diversion. She poses a risk. Ethan rose suddenly. That's sufficient. If you wish to bring down this company over a few tabloids, then so be it. I'm committed for the duration. Mark rose as well, a glint of peril reflecting in his gaze. And what of Emily? How much time remains until she drags you down? You seem disconnected, Ethan. It's time to rise and shine. Ethan's phone vibrated with a sudden buzz. A note from Emily. It's time for a conversation. I would appreciate it if you could come over. He brushed aside Mark's piercing gaze and hurried out. As Ethan entered Emily's apartment, the gentle illumination from the living room lamp cast a warm ambience, the sole source of light in the space. Emily reclined on the couch, with Lily nestled in her crib, drifting into a serene slumber nearby. Yet Emily's complexion was wan, her hands resting gently on her expanding abdomen. Ethan said softly, taking a seat next to her. What's happening? She swallowed, her gaze averted from his. I have not been feeling my best lately. He extended his hand toward hers. Why didn't you share this with me earlier? I wanted to spare you any concern and avoid giving the impression of weakness. Her voice trembled gently. I'm shouldering this by myself, Ethan. I preferred not to include anything further. Ethan felt a tightness in his chest. You're not by yourself. There's no obligation to be. Emily gazed at him, a blend of irritation and trepidation in her eyes. It's more than just that. It's the pregnancy. Carries significant risk. The physician advised me to exercise caution. I'm exhausted, Ethan, utterly exhausted. She confessed, her voice scarcely rising above a murmur. He gripped her hand tightly. Why didn't you speak up? Because I'm afraid it will drive you away, just like everything else. Now, with Mark and the team, it seems as though the entire world is set against me. Ethan's lips pressed together, his inner turmoil waging war within him. I'll sort it all out, Mark, the company, everything, but you need to let me in. Emily nodded, her eyes glistening with emotion. I'm eager to give it a shot, but I'm uncertain about my ability to maintain the pace. He enveloped her in a gentle embrace. You possess more strength than you realize, and I'm by your side. The following days unfolded in a whirlwind of anxious phone conversations and secretive gatherings. Mark's smear campaign escalated, disseminating altered images and rumors that portrayed Emily as erratic and self-serving. Simultaneously, Emily navigated her days with quiet determination, balancing her job and nurturing Lily while bearing the burden of her hidden truth. One afternoon, she found herself in her cozy kitchen, resting her elbows on the table, gently massaging her temples. Her phone buzzed, signaling yet another call from an unfamiliar number. She brushed it aside. The chime of the doorbell echoed through the air. With a sense of trepidation, she opened it. A woman stood there, her smile radiating with an almost overwhelming brightness. Hi Emily, it's Claire from the office. I just wanted to see how you're doing, she said with a gentle smile. Emily's brow knitted in concentration. Thank you for your kindness, but I'm doing well. Claire's smile wavered briefly before she regained her composure. I've come across some information, and I want you to know that I'm available if you require assistance. Emily's gaze sharpened just a touch. I appreciate it, but I'm fine. As Claire departed, Emily's phone vibrated once more. A message from Mark. Stay alert. Not everyone is as they appear. Her chest constricted. The weight of expectation was suffocating, and faith seemed more delicate than it had ever been. As the evening unfolded, Ethan reached out to Emily, dialing her number 4 consecutive times. She remained silent. The stillness on her side tore him apart, bit by bit. At last, he recorded a voice message. Emily, I understand this is difficult, but I am committed to our cause. For you and Lily, whatever you require, I am at your service. Please don't exclude me. Upon returning to her apartment, Emily played the message, her teeth grazing her lip in anticipation. She fought against the sting of tears, determined to keep them at bay. How could she articulate it all? The exhaustion, the dread, the deceptions she concealed, all while remaining unbroken. Instead, she replied, just give me some time. Mark's hold became more intense. During a late-night strategy meeting, he confronted Ethan. You've lost your grip, Mark growled. If you refuse to make a choice, then I shall take it upon myself to decide. Ethan's voice cut through the air with precision. You're jeopardizing it all to drive a wedge between us. Mark moved in closer. At times, it's necessary to dismantle the old to create something new and improved. Ethan's eyes burned with intensity. Not if it means sacrificing what is truly important. Mark scoffed, yet remained silent. The next morning, Emily found herself in a bustling community center, distributing flyers for a local support group. A handful of individuals acknowledged her from the latest rumors, murmuring quietly among themselves as she passed by. A man made his way toward one of the fathers in the gathering. Are the whispers accurate? What can you tell me about your connection with that wealthy individual? Emily took a deep breath. I'm simply aiming to fulfill my responsibilities. He nodded with a measured deliberation. Your actions reflect great courage. She managed a faint smile. Thanks a lot. Yet, murmurs trailed behind her as she departed, the burden of public judgment pressing down on her. That evening, Ethan arrived unexpectedly at Emily's doorstep. She paused, contemplating before allowing him entry. I can't continue this way, Ethan, she murmured, her voice trembling. Amidst the whispers, the corporate conflicts, and this pregnancy, I fear that everything I hold dear may slip away from me. Ethan narrowed the gap, his gaze unwavering. We will confront everything as one. I assure you, I'm here to stay, regardless of the challenges Mark presents or the opinions of others. Emily gazed upward, quivering yet filled with hope. Are you truly saying that? He gave a slight nod. With all that I possess. She extended her hand, weaving her fingers together with his. Then, please stand by my side in this battle. A few days later, during a charged company board meeting, Ethan remained resolute in the face of a hostile takeover attempt led by Mark. The atmosphere hummed with energy, yet Ethan's voice pierced the clamor. I have made the decision to safeguard this organization and those dear to me. That signifies supporting Emily and the family we aspire to build together. I refuse to compromise that for the sake of profits or political gain. The shareholders exchanged whispers, with some expressing support while others remained uncertain. Mark's expression shifted, shadowed by unspoken thoughts. Ethan's phone vibrated quietly. Emily's correspondence. I appreciate your struggle. I cherish you deeply. He smiled, his heart racing with excitement. The battle was far from finished, yet he had decided his path. That night, Emily sat in solitude, her ultrasound photo held tightly in her grasp as weariness seeped deep into her very being. The challenges before us were daunting, yet hidden within the trepidation was a subtle optimism. Perhaps, this time, affection and bravery might guide them onward. 2 days later, the atmosphere in the boardroom crackled with intensity. The transparent barriers that enclosed the space offered no refuge from the tempest raging within. Ethan positioned himself at the head of the table, exuding a sense of calm determination, while shareholders exchanged anxious whispers, their gazes flitting between him and Mark. Mark's jaw clenched. His face remained a mask of indifference, yet his fingers tapped the table with growing impatience. This meeting would determine the trajectory of the company and the course of Ethan's personal life. Ethan cleared his throat, and a hush enveloped the room. I understand that some of you may have worries regarding leadership and distractions, and I want to assure you that my message is straightforward. My focus has shifted. This company has evolved beyond mere profits. It revolves around individuals, particularly those who hold the deepest significance in my life. He cast a quick look at the open door, where the PR head offered him a discreet thumbs up. The media gathered outside, anticipating a statement. Ethan faced the room with unwavering confidence. I refuse to make a choice between my career and my loved ones. I have decided on both options. I'm embracing Emily, Lily, and the fresh journey we're embarking on, side by side. A wave of reaction swept across the room, with some individuals nodding in agreement while others tensed up. Mark's eyes burned with fury, yet he remained silent. The sincerity in Ethan's voice was undeniable, cutting through all other sounds. A prominent shareholder, a woman in her 50s, tapped her pen thoughtfully. Mr. Clark, are you indicating that you're dedicating yourself to sustained leadership despite navigating unexpected personal hurdles? Ethan offered a faint smile. Absolutely. Leadership, in my view, involves the ability to adjust while remaining steadfast in the principles that truly count. Love and family anchor me in ways nothing else can. Mark leaned forward, his voice icy. You're putting it all on the line for a fleeting desire. This isn't a charity, Ethan interrupted sharply. It's not a fleeting fancy. It's existence. Indeed, it is genuine. Once more, the room was enveloped in silence. Ethan sensed the gravity of choice settling deep within the hearts of those who listened. Mark's expression shifted, and he rose suddenly. I've reached my limit. Silently, he turned on his heel and exited the room. The stillness stretched for a heartbeat. Gradually, the shareholders started to nod in agreement, with a few offering soft applause. Ethan's phone vibrated, signaling a message from Emily. "I find myself at the store. Kindly join us." Snow began to drift softly over Seattle, while Ethan rushed through the evening chill toward the neighborhood grocery store where it all started. The well-known neon sign pulsed above the doorway, illuminating the white powder accumulating beneath it with a gentle radiance. Inside, Emily lingered by the checkout line, her gaze heavy with fatigue yet unwavering. She grasped a small paper bag and a medical report, the burden of it evident in her stance. Ethan moved in softly, and as she caught sight of him, a subtle, weary smile flickered across her face. "You arrived," she murmured gently. He inclined his head, extending his hand toward hers. "They just reached out. The doctors have given their confirmation. This pregnancy carries significant risks. We must exercise utmost caution." Emily's voice was soft, a hint of fragility woven in. "I feel a sense of fear, Ethan." He embraced her softly, drawing her close. "I understand, but we are united in this journey. All truths laid bare, all shadows dispelled." She leaned her head against his chest, finding solace in the rhythm of his steady heartbeat. After a brief pause, Ethan withdrew, his eyes glimmering with a steadfast resolve. "I don't want to create a fuss," he said, his voice heavy with emotion. "But I need you to understand, right here where it all began, that I belong to you. I'm not merely present to assist or safeguard you. I'm here to support you through it all." Emily blinked up at him, astonishment dancing in her eyes. He inhaled slowly, his fingers wrapping softly around hers. "Emily, will you be my wife? Not with grand displays or throngs of people, but with sincerity and a commitment to support one another through every challenge." Her breath hitched, a whirlwind of emotions swirling within her. Fear, fatigue, and a glimmer of hope. "Indeed," she murmured, her voice trembling yet resolute. As they embraced, a soft murmur spread through the store, drawing the attention of customers who had been browsing near the front. The clerk, a young man Ethan remembered from his previous visits, offered a smile and a nod of approval. A woman in the adjacent line dabbed at her eyes and murmured her congratulations to her companion. The news spread swiftly. Neighbors started to assemble, infusing a sense of warmth into the chilly atmosphere beyond. Onlookers offered gentle applause, partaking in the subdued festivity. Among them, Mark stood in the doorway, uncertain and panting. He paused for a moment, then stepped ahead, his gaze locked on Ethan and Emily. I wanted to express," Mark began hesitantly, his voice lacking the sharpness it once had, "that I was mistaken. Concerning you, concerning us." He fixed his gaze on Emily. "You possess more strength than I initially recognized." Emily offered a tentative nod, feeling uncertain yet perceiving the genuine intent. Ethan cast a quick look at Mark, followed by a fleeting smile. "There's still time." Mark swallowed hard, managing a faint, sincere smile. "Perhaps there are lessons yet to be uncovered." As the intimate gathering settled into a hush, Ethan took a moment to draw Emily away from the group. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a folded, yellowed envelope. "There's something I want to show you," he said. Within the envelope lay a letter, meticulously penned in a handwriting that felt all too familiar. "Comes from my father." "Your father," Ethan explained gently. "Before he departed, he bequeathed this to me. I have just discovered it. He encouraged me to seek joy, to look after you, and to persist unwaveringly." Emily's eyes grew large, shimmering with tears. Ethan nodded, clearly taken by surprise. "It has lingered in my life, patiently anticipating our reunion." She held the letter tightly against her heart, sinking into Ethan's embrace. "This transcends mere legacy," she murmured. "It's a legacy of love." Snow fell softly outside as Ethan, Emily, and Lily, her small face peeking from a sling, found themselves among new friends and neighbors. The grocery store briefly became a sanctuary where love and bravery triumphed over fear. Emily gazed at Ethan, her companion, her kin, her destiny. "We'll approach it one day at a time," she stated, her voice unwavering. Ethan wore a smile. Each day, my choice will always be you. Hand in hand, they ventured into the serene, snow-dusted streets of Seattle, prepared to embrace whatever lay ahead. This time, love held immeasurable value. A few weeks had passed since that evening at the grocery store. The initial soft snowfalls of winter had transformed into delicate rains, and a new cadence of life had started to take shape for Ethan and Emily. The cozy abode resonated with the gentle rhythm of baby Lily's breaths and the quiet chatter of the evening news. The clamor of the city seemed distant, as if it belonged to another realm. Emily sat comfortably on the couch, cradling a sleeping Lily in her arms, when Ethan entered, holding a small wooden box he had discovered in the depths of his closet. The very box that once contained the letter. "I've been meaning to give this to you," he said softly, kneeling beside her. "I considered that perhaps in this moment it feels appropriate." Emily lifted her gaze, her eyes radiating warmth yet revealing a hint of fatigue, and gave a nod. "I am prepared." Ethan gently opened the aged paper, the script both recognizable and hauntingly far away. "Emily, if you happen to come across this, I imagine I'm no longer present, but I want you to understand just how proud I am of you. Life has presented its challenges for both of us. Your mother and I nurtured you with optimism, yet the world occasionally demands more than we believe we can provide. Ethan, my dearest friend, should you ever come across this, I hope you can glimpse what I witness daily in Emily. Power, passion, and an affection that can shift the very earth. Kindly ensure her well-being. Assist her in discovering the joy that is rightfully hers. Do not allow fear or silence to restrain you. Guide her through the tempests. Share joy with her in the warmth of daylight, and reassure her that she is always accompanied. With all my heart, Miguel. Emily's fingers glided over the ink, delicately following the contours of her father's words. I was completely unaware. He wished for your involvement in this. Ethan offered a gentle smile. I didn't either. It feels as though he has provided us with a roadmap, leading us to something greater, to one another. That clarifies everything, she remarked, a gentle sense of relief washing over her. What kept you going all this time? What brought you back? Absolutely, Ethan replied, holding her hand tightly. And now we embark on crafting the next chapters of our journey, side by side. The waning light of the late afternoon slipped away, leaving behind elongated shadows that stretched across the ground. Footsteps echoed in the distance, drawing nearer. Mark's knock was soft and delicate. Ethan opened the door to discover his old friend waiting. Eyes gentler now. The sharpness from weeks past faded away. Hey, Mark said, adjusting his stance uncomfortably. I was thinking that, if you're open to it, I would love to come by for a visit sometime. They shared dinner, engaging in conversation, while Emily smiled and nodded, gently pulling Lily closer. You're always welcome, Mark breathed out, then presented a subtle yet sincere smile. Thanks a lot. I wish to make another attempt. Strive for improvement, for each and every one of you. Within the confines, the walls exuded a comforting warmth, not merely from the ambience or the heating, but from an unmistakable aura of healing that permeated the atmosphere. Later that night, Ethan and Emily found themselves seated closely at the small kitchen table, illuminated by the gentle light of the lamp overhead, while baby Lily peacefully slumbered in her crib nearby. Emily extended her arm across the table, gently clasping Ethan's hand in her own. In recent weeks, she remarked, it has been challenging yet also rewarding. For the first time, it feels as though I'm not merely existing. I'm truly experiencing life, Ethan nodded. Same here. I was pursuing what I believed would bring me joy, wealth, achievement. But what I truly lacked all this time was this. He held her hand softly, a tender gesture that spoke volumes. Emily's smile, a delicate crescent, illuminated her entire face. Our family, flawed and chaotic, yet undeniably ours. A gentle kick interrupted their serene moment. Emily's hand instinctively found its way to her belly. Lily is about to welcome a new sibling, she whispered softly. Ethan's eyes sparkled, reflecting both wonder and resolve. Regardless of what lies ahead, we confront it side by side, with each stride we take. That's the commitment, Emily concurred. She rested her head against his shoulder, enveloped in a sense of safety that had eluded her for far too long. In the coming weeks, the community surrounding them convened in small yet significant ways. Neighbors delivered meals, the nearby daycare center provided special arrangements for Lily, and before long, the newborn arrived. A close-knit circle of families from the grocery store came together to host a baby shower, merging thoughtful and practical gifts, beautifully reflecting the spirit of a blended family. On a brisk Saturday morning, Ethan pushed Lily in her stroller toward the corner cafe where Emily was employed part-time. "Have you ever considered how peculiar it is?" Ethan pondered as they nestled in, cups of tea cradled in their hands. "That one simple act, covering the cost of your groceries, set everything in motion?" Emily let out a gentle laugh. "Unusual yet captivating. Your actions that day were a lifeline, not just for me, but for everyone involved. We rescued one another," Ethan clarified, locking eyes with her. Outside, snowflakes began to drift once more, and Emily's smile grew tender. "I appreciate the unexpected elements, the moments that catch me off guard. That's life," Ethan remarked, full of surprises. "Chaotic, yet more fulfilling when we're united." Their fingers intertwined across the table, a quiet vow that through every tempest or ray of light, they would stand united. One afternoon, Mark arrived unexpectedly, clutching a small pile of papers. "I've been toiling away on a project," he remarked, settling down gently next to Ethan. "A fund aimed at supporting families like Emily's. Single parents, immigrant workers, those in need of a helping hand. I genuinely want to assist, and I'm committed to doing so this time." Ethan lifted an eyebrow, a mix of surprise and satisfaction crossing his face. Emily, close by, quietly folded laundry, a subtle smile gracing her lips as she observed them. Ethan expressed his pleasure, saying, "I'm glad to hear that, Mark. It's always the right time to embark on a positive journey." Mark agreed. "Enough with the uncertainty. It's time to seize the opportunity to set things straight." It represented progress, not flawless, but genuine. In the quiet of the evening, Ethan and Emily found themselves in baby Lily's room, surrounded by the gentle hum of soft lullabies playing from a carefully curated playlist. Ethan drew Emily nearer. "I felt a deep fear, a fear that this kind of love might not endure, that it was too delicate to withstand the test of time." Emily gave a subtle shake of her head. "Love is not delicate. It embodies bravery. It's the daily decision to rise and make another attempt." He gently swept a lock of hair away from her face. "Always selecting you." Emily beamed, leaning into him comfortably. "Text regardless of the chaos or ambiguity ahead. I'm prepared, alongside you." Beyond the frosted windows, the city lights danced in a hazy blur, yet within, a steady warmth of hope flickered brightly. Time flowed from weeks into months, and at last, the baby made a grand entrance, healthy and robust. Lily, now a curious toddler, welcomed her new sibling with the enchanting awe that only a child can possess. Pictures of family adorned the walls, capturing joy, serene instances, and the simple wonders of togetherness. Ethan and Emily clasped hands every evening, grateful for the journey, the struggles and the recovery, the conflicts and the triumphs. In the gentle glow of the bedside lamp, Emily murmured, "This is the life I never imagined I could have, but with you, it feels like home." Ethan pressed his lips to her forehead, his heart brimming with emotion. "It belongs to us, each flawed, exquisite day." In that uncomplicated, luminous space, enveloped by gentle sighs and tender aspirations, they understood that love transcended mere destiny or coincidence. Love was the decision to unite, to continue mending, and to persist in creating a family, a legacy, a future they had discovered there eternally.